Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fun Foiled Friday. I'm Doreen DeCibas from It Begins with Ink and Paper, and I'm really glad that you're able to join me tonight, or of course, join me on the replay. Either one is great, and whatever is working for you, I think that is perfect. So thank you again for joining me. Like I said, either the live or the replay. So tonight we're going to do a really fun fold, and I'm going to add some movement to my card. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be using the Bewitching bundle, which I used last week. I'm going to be focusing on some great Halloween projects over the next couple weeks before we get into fall. So I wanted to continue that this week. And I'm also going to be using some stamps from the Scary Cute bundle. So this is another great Stampin' Up bundle, and it has dies that go with it. So let me just set that aside and show you the card that we're going to make tonight. So this is it. It's just such a sweet little card. But the fun part of this card is that it has some movement. So let me just show you that you can move these like dancing little legs. They're pretty fun. So I'm going to show you how to make that on your card, plus how to make this fun fold. So let's talk about the different materials you need. I've done some pre-stamping just so that we can focus on the fold tonight. And I often do that. And plus, I had borrowed this set from Leslie, my friend Leslie, who's another demonstrator, and I had to return it. So I had to do some pre-stamping. So I've already stamped and punched the witch's hat, and I've stamped and punched the witch's legs, little feet and legs. They do need to be fussy cut, and you need to, they do stamp together, so you need to cut them out so that they're separate. You're also going to need 2 pieces of basic black cardstock. One is just a regular piece of cardstock for half a sheet for a card. So it measures 5.5 by 8.5 and scored right in the middle at 4 1/4. And then this piece here is a 2 3/4 by 4 1/4 piece. That is going to be going on the front of the card. You're going to need some designer series paper, and we're going to be using 2 pieces. In the original card, I used two pieces from the black and white designer series paper that's in the current mini catalog. But I was making a whole mess. If you saw my card of the day today, I've been making a whole mess of Halloween cards too, kind of be ready for Halloween with my advisory at school. And so I've used up most of that paper. But I did have enough for the stars on the inside. So the black and white paper is black and gray on one side, and then black and white on the other. We're going to be using the black and white, and this is to fit in our background. So it is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then we need a piece for the front of our card, and that's 2.5 by 4. And this comes from a pack of designer series paper that is in the main catalog that is, again, all black and white designs. And then finally, you're going to need some basic white straps, as I said, but you're also going to need a piece of cardstock that is 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches. You're going to need another piece that is 2.25 by 4. And then finally, you're going to need, this is the most important piece of paper for this project today, because it's what's going to make our legs dance around. And this is 3/4 inch by 2. I'm not going to use this entire length, but I cut it by 2, and you'll see in a minute, it's for an important reason, to help hold this in the punch and to make sure no matter what, it's going to be long enough for my piece. So I'm going to put that aside over here. So let's just get some things ready to go for this card. So this card opens like this. And there's 2 ways I could do this. I could cut just a piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4 black cardstock, the back part of this base, and then I could cut a strip and then attach it to the back of this card so that it opens and has this. I decided, well, why waste all that extra paper on the back when we could just cut this piece off? So that's what I did. So let me just get my paper cutter out. So here's what you're going to need to do. And one of kind of the cool things about our paper cutter is that we have measurements going down the acrylic piece here, and we have measurements going across the top here. So I am going to want to cut this in half. So this is my 5.5 inch piece. So I want to cut this down right on my score line, 2 3/4 inches. So I am going to just line up that score line right on my paper cutter. It's lined up right at 4 1/4. And I am going to mark my paper at 2 3/4. So I'm going to just turn this for a second so I can see where 2 3/4 are at, which is right there. And I'm going to make sure this is back lined up the way it should be. Okay, so I'm going to take that piece that's right at 2 3/4, and I'm going to just cut it going upward. And then I'm going to put this piece in at 2 3/4. So that's bringing this right to where that is. And I am going to bring this down 4 this time, 4 1/4 actually. So again, let me just look at this. There we go. And I'm going to cut up again. And there we have it. So now I have that piece all set to go on the front of my cardstock. So I'm going to put my paper cutter away. And then I'm not wasting my black paper, and I have another piece that I can use for another project. So I'm just going to set that aside. And then I'm just going to put some of my decoration, my designer series paper, using my Stamp and Seal. So I'm going to put my stars right on the inside for the back of the card, so that we have that inside layer. And then I'm going to put my stripes going up and down on that small front panel. There we go. So all of our designer series paper is all set. And I am going to, let's do some stamping and coloring in. So I'm going to set that aside and set this piece aside. And what I'm going to do, so I'm going to use this smaller piece that's going to fit, it's going to layer right on this piece of basic black. And I am going to be using my Memento ink. And I am going to be stamping the cute little bats from the Scary Cute stamp set. So I'm going to stamp those right at the top. On this sample here, I stamped the little spider from the, excuse me, from the Bewitching bundle. Now, I am going to do some coloring on my pieces here using my blends. So I've taken, actually, I'm going to take my dark colors of each of these, and I've pulled out 4 different colors for my palette. I've got this, I think this is like the perfect Halloween green. It's the dark parakeet party. Then for purple, I've got the dark Highland heather. And for yellow, I've got the dark Daffodil Delight. And for pumpkin, I'm using my dark pumpkin pie. So what I'm going to do on my hat is I am going to color in the dots in the band. So I'm going to start with my pumpkin. I'm going to use, in this case, just my finer tip edge. Remember, when you're coloring, you want to make sure you are not coloring right up to the lines. Give it just a little bit off because the blends are going to just blend in naturally. So I'm going to make the top and the sides and the bottom just a little darker by going over it and leave it a little lighter in the center. And then I'm just going to go in some different places and add some dots that are pumpkin. There we go. And then I'm going to add some daffodil. And some of my parakeet. And just make this really festive hat. And then the Highland Heather I'm going to fill in with the other circles and half circles. Oh, that is so cute, so colorful, so much fun for Halloween. Let's see if I can get this right. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same on my little boots. I'm going to color the buckles in with the daffodil. Okay. And then I have 3 colors left and I have 3 stripes. So that is perfect. So I am going to do 1 stripe in the Highland Heather. And 1 stripe in the parakeet. When I color with that parakeet, it reminds me of the Wicked Witch on the Wizard of Oz and those socks that she wore. Okay, there we go. Got those all done. Now, this piece, as I said, this piece actually is going in the inside. This is the piece that's going here, so let me stamp some more. I stamped that wrong, but it will still look great. Let me just stamp these on the front piece. There we go. I'm also going to stamp on this piece a greeting, and this comes again from the Scary Cute set, and it's the Halloween, it says Halloween Happiness. So we'll stamp that right in the middle, and we're good to go with all of that. Okay, now let's put this together. Let me just get the ink out of the way. So as I said, this little piece here is the most important piece. So I'm going to take an oldie but goodie punch. This is my 1/2-inch circle. You might have a punch that's a 1/2-inch circle, or you might have one that is maybe a die that's a 1/2-inch circle, and I'm just going to cut a circle right out of, and you know, that's a little close, so I think I am going to go on the other side and do one. That's much better. I am going to need to cut this no matter what, so it is okay. So I am going to cut this piece off, because remember I said I just really needed it to hold, and I want there to be room for this to fit on the back of my hat so that it's hidden and we're not going to see it. You can't really tell in that, you might be able to tell that it's back there, but we want that to be hidden. And I'm even going to on all of the corners, I'm going to just take those little corners off, so as this moves, those corner pieces don't show on the other side of the hat. So with this, piece here, what I am going to be doing is, this is where the witch's feet are going to hang from. So it's not that each foot is going to be dangling. It is actually both feet. This little piece here is going to be what's dangling in my card. So this little contraption that I've just made. So what I've done is I've punched that circle, rounded the corners, and then I cut a little divide here so I have a place for each leg. So that's what you want to do. And the reason I made this 3/4 of an inch was to fit the half circle punch. So I am going to now take these, my shoes, and I want to make sure I put them on the right, in the right way, and I'm going to actually tilt them out just a little bit. So I'm going to use my liquid adhesive for that. And I'm just going to put a little dot, a little too big of a dot on the first one, but that's okay. I can use my pick here to take a little bit of that glue off when you get too much. And I can even use my pick to spread that around a little bit, and just remember to wipe the edge off. So I am going to put one of my legs here and the other one of my legs right here. By using glue, it allows me to adjust my legs a little bit to get them right where I want them to be. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And what I have to remember is that I want this so that my hat will go over it. And so I am going to place this where that can happen. All right, so now I need one regular size dimensional, and this will fit right inside just want to make sure there's no glue in that. And let me give you a little hint. If you feel like you've got some glue that's sticking, that's going to just cause havoc with your project, take out your embossing buddy. And the embossing buddy has those little, it has powder, like substance in it. So if I can get this open, and I am just going to, on the back here, put that over anywhere that I think there's some glue. And now I don't have anything that's sticky. So just a little tip of the day. So I've got my dimensional here, and I'm going to put that right over it like that. Make sure you can see that okay. And then I'm going to take the top of my dimensional off, and I'm going to put my hat on the top. And now when I pick this up, you can see that my legs are going to move all over the place. Now, I could have put more dimensionals in here, and I think I'm actually going to add one more. What you want to be careful of is that you're not adding a dimensional to the bottom of the hat, because then it's going to prevent this from moving back and forth. But you can see how this is just moving really nicely. Okay, I'm going to take use that in just a minute. So I'm going to add, so let's just move these right out of the way for this second. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. And I am going to attach this on my piece of black cardstock. You know, making things move on your cards is just such a fun element to add. And when I add this to the front of my card, what I want to make sure that I do is only add adhesive to the bottom of this piece. So I'm going to add some adhesive here to the bottom. And then I'm going to line this up. And I'm not going to press it down too much because in the back, I want to make sure, oh, that's perfect. That fits in really well. So I've got these legs, really, you can see that they're just going to dance everywhere. Isn't that fun? Like, just so much fun. Now, to finish up this card, I am going to add this hand-stamped piece layer right on the back of it. And it's going to cover up most of that seam right here and give you a place to stamp a greeting and to write a message. And then the last thing I want to do, because like I said, I was doing this card just a bit different. I'm going to add a dot to the hat. Isn't that cute? So there's our fun fold for tonight. And I'm going to show you one other little thing. So we've got the legs that move back and forth, which makes it fun. And then we have this fun half fold on the card, and our greeting and all of that's on the other side. Now I was trying to think, what else could I make that would do this fun fold? So let me see where I put my, here we go. So I cut another 3/4 inch by 2 inches, and I cut some pieces from the Kindest Gnome die kit. So I've got the gnome little legs, I've got all these little pieces. So I'm going to start by putting this together. So I'm going to use, again, my my glue. There we go. And so the first thing that's going to go on, and I'm just going to get my silicone mat out in case we get some glue leakage, is I'm going to fit on the gnome's hat. So there we go. Good, I don't see any leakage. I'm going to add this fun little nose. So this is out of the Gingham designer series for the Cottage Rose. I'm going to add a little dot of glue there and add his nose out of the bridal, what's it called? Used it for so long. The Blushing Bride cardstock. And now I have his feet, which are supposed to just go on to the bottom of his beard to make the little gnome. But what I'm going to do is I want to make these to be dancing feet as well. So I'm going to use the exact same mechanism. Got a little piece of cardstock that we'll need to use. So again, I'm going to line this up, so I'm going to know where I want those feet to be. And on this time, I'm going to, again, just take my 1/2 inch punch. Oh, it's too close. See, another reason to have a nice piece. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to cut this off again because, again, I don't want a lot of this to show. I'm going to round my little corners so those corners won't stick out when the little gnome's legs are moving. But for this one, I don't really need to notch the edge because I am not going to take these feet apart, I'm just going to add them to this mechanism. So I'm going to just add a little bit of my liquid glue, and I am going to add my little legs. And you know, I put it on the other way, so let's do that on this one too. So I'm just drying up that glue, and I am going to put this is such an easy way to just use the powder that's in that, and the glue dries right up. So I'm going to put that on the other way. That way we won't have any of the white showing. It would have worked the way I had it, but this way we just won't have any of that white showing. Wipe off any of the glue. Do another little pouncing. Okay, he's ready. No sticky edges. Okay, so I am going to have this towards the bottom of the card, and this is where he will fit right over this piece of white cardstock. So now that I have this where I want it to be, I will grab my dimensional and put it right in on this in the circle. I want this to still move, so I don't want to get him down. And then on the back of this, since this is going to be on just here, I am going to put a couple of dimensionals towards the top of his hat to give him some security. And I'm going to place him right where I want him to be over that little mechanism. And now we have a little dancing gnome. So I don't know if you can see that, how well. Isn't that fun? So I could add this to the front of the card. So here I have my dancing witch, which I just think my nieces and nephews who I'm going to send this to will just have so much fun with these. And now I'm going to have to make either a fall gnome or a Christmas gnome who can dance as well. So that is it for Funfold Friday of this week. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back next Friday night for another Funfold Live. And I can tell you already we're going to be using the Bewitching Bundle at least one more time. And then at the end of the month, I'll do something different and try a different bundle. But I have had so much fun with this bundle. I hope you like this easy Funfold card and the little dancing element that we added to it. And I hope you have a great week where you're at. Make sure you say hello in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. And I will see you next week for Funfold Friday. Good night, everybody.